What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Slackerz, bringing you guys our next matchup in the Everyone Is Here tournament. So if you haven't seen it before, pretty simple stuff. 100 characters get thrown into this tournament each day on the channel, except for Sundays. I upload one of the matches from the tournament. I'll discuss the two characters that happen to be in the match, so I might go over a couple facts, maybe a mini moveset pool, something like that, to try to make a case why they might make sense for Smash DLC. And then we'll vote down in the comments. But voting is a part of the rules, so I'm going to throw up the rules on screen for you guys to read real quick. And just like yesterday, we're gonna plow through these real quick. Rule number 1: this is for fun. Just enjoy it. It's all good. No restrictions on who you can vote for. If they're in a matchup for the day, feel free to drop a vote for them. It's all good. Rule 2: you only get one vote per person. Rule number 3: how do you vote? That's simple. Down in the comments, you simply type one of the characters' names that you're going to vote for the day. Completely fine. But if you do want to vote for both characters, you are allowed to vote both by simply typing the word both. So like if you really like both, you can vote for both. If you're having a tough time deciding who to vote for, you can vote for both. All good. Next rule. This is a double elimination tournament, meaning a character has to lose twice before being officially eliminated. Next rule. Once we get to the results for each matchup to determine the winner and loser, if there happens to be a tie in the number of votes, I'll flip a coin on camera. Fairest way to break a tie. And then each matchup lasts for just 1 week, meaning, today's Wednesday, so we'll get the results of today's matchup next Wednesday. So each matchup only has a 7-day window to get your votes in. Anything after that does not count. Those are the rules. Let's jump into the matchup and the results for the day. Alright, so let's go over the results from last week, which again, we're in the loser bracket, so whoever loses, done from the tournament. So the results from last week's matchup was Monokuma against Ribbon Girl from ARMS, and this one was a really close matchup actually, if I remember correctly. 3 votes ended up separating the winner from the loser here, and let's just show it. Again, a lot of straightforward voting, right to the point. Monokuma ends up winning this one. 32 votes, there we go. 32 votes to just 29 votes for Ribbon Girl. So, pretty close, but Monokuma edged her out and ended up winning this one. So, congrats to Monokuma. Moves on to the next round. Gets at least one more match because, again, loser bracket. You already have one loss, so you lose again, you're done. So, speaking of losses, that's Ribbon Girl second. She is now eliminated from the tournament. So, yeah, there's the results. Let's move to the matchup for the day. So, today's matchup is where we at? Game 81. Tekken is back with Jin Kazama, so it'd be interesting because we just had Hayachi yesterday, so back-to-back Tekken days, kind of funny. But Jin's opponent, quote from Cave Story, an indie character which we'll talk about, so let's just jump into it. And I think okay, Jin's up first. So my one thing about Jin, one thing about Tekken, I probably mentioned this yesterday. Tekken is under the Bandai owns and makes the Tekken games. Bandai works on Smash Bros. We're still waiting to see if Bandai will get a rep in Smash Ultimate for a DLC character. And a lot of the fans believe like they deserve to have a second one. Like, because again, the only Bandai rep we have on the roster right now is Pac-Man. Nothing wrong with Pac-Man. I actually love Pac-Man. But the fact that they only have the fact that they only have one playable character, a tiny bit weird. So maybe when the DLC was getting finalized, well over a year ago, maybe Nintendo was like, hey, Bandai, we'd love to put another character in the roster. Who would you prefer? Because again, if that were to if that was a conversation to take place, Nintendo was more than willing to listen to Bandai's like, okay, we prefer this sort of character, we want to go with this. So in that case, Jin makes a lot of sense. One of the fan favorites, one of the most recognizable faces from the Tekken series. And going off of yesterday's video where I discussed Hayachi and the voice actor passing away, and it's not Nintendo's job to go rehire a new voice actor for a character that they do not own. That's just kind of random. And again, spoilers for Tekken, with Hayachi and what happened with him. Hayachi doesn't make too much sense going forward, so a different character such as Jin would make a bit more sense than Hayachi would in that case. So, again, Tekken real quick, big-time fighting franchise, so you already have a character that has a ready-made moveset. Now you just gotta figure out how you're gonna put that into Smash Bros. And it could be kind of fun, but again, another sort of argument if you want to look at it like that. I mentioned it yesterday again with Hayachi. We just had Terry Bogard, who's the most recent DLC fighter for Smash Ultimate, so you already have a hand-to-hand of fighting style combat character. Would they really go back-to-back with that sort of thing? So I guess if they were to put two hand-to-hand kind of combat fighters, wouldn't it make a bit more sense to spread them out? You know, the first character could be the fighting character, and then like the fourth or fifth, you know what I'm saying. Like back-to-back two styles that could be very similar. I don't think there'd be fans that would probably be a little bit upset like with that, and it's like, all right, hey, we want something quite different, but you know, I don't want the same thing back to back. It's kind of like, all right, never mind. Even though Jin would be a very phenomenal addition, because I remember even back in the Smash Ballot days, at least personally, I was seeing there's quite a bit of support for Hayachi, but Jin's name was also getting thrown around quite a bit. So you know, again, from the fighting franchise, moveset's already there, name is recognizable, but again, Sakura said the recognizable factor isn't the biggest point for a character. They'd have to be fun, and you know, Jin is, if my stat was correct that I seen, Jin is one of the most played characters in Tekken, at least Tekken 7. So if you're one of the most played characters, people like the character, so I guess people will consider him a fun character. I guess though, if you're a character that is played a lot in a fighting game, either you're very fun to play as, or you're extremely spammy, or you're just like very neutral based, where it's like, alright, you're an easy character to learn, so new people coming into the franchise, casual fighters, casual gamers are like, alright, he's easy to pick up and whatever. So Jin could make quite a bit of sense, but I think there's still arguments against him for maybe holding him back. And let me say this real quick again. With all the recent leakers going around, you know, disconfirming all these characters and whatever, Jin was nowhere on there. So it's kind of like, if we are to believe the leakers, again, with all their confirmations, is it like, is Fighter Pass 5 character, is that really going to be somebody that was really not talked about and just kind of like flew in under the radar, and it's like, oh, I really didn't think about that, and that could happen? Jin is definitely would be a part of that list for sure. Nobody's really talking about Jin. If anyone's talking about Tekken, the name I really see is Hayachi, but then the whole argument against him, why he wouldn't make sense. But Jin could be one of those characters that could fly in under the radar, but could still make quite a bit of sense. So you never know with that with Jin. But he might have a better chance than his opponent, but we'll see. So let me talk about his opponent though. Quote from Cave Story. Now, one thing I bring up with characters, every character so far for DLC in the Fighter Pass, not Piranha Plant, but the Fighter Pass, has had some sort of gimmick. Alright? Quote, I think you could have a very fun gimmick with the character as well. So, I'll jump into the moveset in a second, but the idea for the character, you would have the character, and then you'd have the typical, you know, you'd have your moveset ready to go, and then Quote could have a meter-based gimmick. But hold on, this gimmick would be actually kind of fun. The gimmick would be in Cave Story. Quote levels up the weapons, and you know, it's basically a level up system. So it's again a meter. You know, attacking will increase it quite a bit. So you could go up to you'd start at level 1, and then, you know, get attacked or deal damage. The meter is going to build up. So you're going to have level 1, level 2, and level 3 stuff. So obviously once you get to level 2 and 3, the more powerful your items, attacks, weapons, it'll become more powerful the more you level up. And I don't probably keep it to maybe a stock or something like that. So like if you lose a stock, you'd have to restart at level 1, which could make sense. For potential moveset here, Quote has a couple pretty interesting weapons at his disposal. So one thing that I thought of, or one thing that comes to mind when talking about Quote, does have a gun that shoots like fireballs. So you could have something similar in effect to, you know, basically shoots a fireball, and maybe you could act similar to Mario's neutral attack, you know? Fire the fireball and it might bounce once or twice or something like that. So it's just like, it's a projectile that's out there. Not going to do a ton of damage, but, you know, you got a little something in there, which would be kind of cool. Quote does have missile launchers as well. Whether you could maybe aim it in a certain direction, so it could be like a side special, where you'd press and hold side special, and then if you want to aim it up, you'd aim up on the control stick, and then you would let go of the B button to, finish off the attack, let it go through, or aim down or forward, whatever it might be. So it could be kind of a fun little thing with the weapon there where you aim which way you want it to go. Be kind of fun. Quote does have another weapon that I get a kick out of when I kind of think about it. It's what's the name of it? The bub line, I think it's the bub line. Basically, it's a weapon that shoots out a bunch of bubbles. Like, really? You're gonna shoot a bunch of bubbles at me, and I'm supposed to be afraid of that? I just get the image in my head of Quote going up against like Bowser or Ganondorf, and Bowser or Ganondorf, they get hit with this bubble launcher and they just go flying off screen. Like, that would look so bizarre, but it's like, all right, it's Smash Bros. That just fits, right? And plus, it's a weapon Quote uses, so I mean, if he uses it in his game, obviously you're gonna have to, well, not obviously, but most likely you're gonna have that in the moveset somewhere. So I don't know if you could use that as, that could maybe be a side special, maybe like a side smash, maybe not a smash attack. Maybe that could be the neutral attack or something like that. Maybe a back air, up air, something like that, potentially. Does have typical punches and kicks, obviously. That's going to be in there somewhere. Throws, going to be typical. Grab them, two hands, pummel them down on the ground, something like that. So I think Quote would have some pretty unique, awesome weapons at his disposal for the moveset. And I kind of like thinking about stuff like that. Nothing against Jin. Like, I'm actually surprised the way I'm going to vote for this one. I'm actually going to vote Quote because I like the potential, the level up system that could potentially, again, the more damage you're going to deal, obviously the meter's going to fill up. You take damage, the meter's going to fill up. So your weapons will do more and more damage as per whatever level you might be. So your neutral special at level 1, just as an example, neutral special, maybe it's the bubble gun, the bubble line. You shoot a bunch of bubbles, 5% damage, as an example. Level 2 maybe does like 7-8% damage. Level 3 maybe does like 10-11% damage, something like that. So you get it. The higher you level up, the more stronger your weapons are going to become, which I thought would be a very fun mechanic. So in a way, it's kind of like Lucario a little bit, where the more damage Lucario has, obviously the stronger he becomes. So it's like the longer Quote can kind of last out on the field and rack up damage and take damage, the better off Quote's going to be with these attacks. So I don't know. It would be kind of a fun character, a fun sort of style that we don't have really too much of, but a little bit, but still a fun thing. So yeah, I'm actually voting Quote on this one. Jin's not really a character I'm too fond of. If Tekken were to get a rep, I'd still probably prefer Hayachi, even though I 100% will not expect Hayachi to happen as a playable character. So Quote, he's got my vote in this one. So that's going to be it for this one. So let me know who you guys got, either Jin or Quote, down in the comments, or both. Totally fine. So we'll give you a sneak peek for tomorrow. Looks like the matchup for tomorrow. The Queen of Crossovers, Morrigan from Darkstalkers, is back. And she is taking on Dry Bowser. Dry Bowser's her opponent. So could be a fun matchup tomorrow. We'll see how that one plays out. And then we'll get the results for who. Who do we got? Tomorrow's matchup, the results we'll get for Captain Syrup. She's taking on Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins. So that is going to be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. And hopefully we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.